Welcome back to my channel, Berserker Gang 2019, and today I'm going to show you the Blacksmith Shop. Let's start with the anvil. So my anvil here at the shop weighs about 200 kilograms. Now that sounds like a lot, but actually the ideal weight that I would be looking for would be around 350 to 500 kilograms. It's the one I'd really like to have. Now that doesn't mean this one's not efficient. If you're going to get into blacksmithing, I would say that an anvil that weighs about 70 kilograms will last you to do everything you'd like to do abroad. At a fair size anvil, 70 kilograms, maybe even 100 kilograms, you'd be set for most of the work you want to do your entire career. Now I have this anvil because for the simple fact that I just wanted to have a big anvil like this, and it's nice to have a professional size piece of equipment. The inertia of this anvil is great, so therefore the workpiece absorbs the hammer blows instead of the energy going into the anvil and everything shaking around, and that's why a larger anvil is to an advantage. Now there's a great disadvantage of a large anvil like this. If I ever wanted to move this, I would have to use heavy equipment, and I don't have that up here, so that's a real big disadvantage. If this anvil ever had to go somewhere and move it, I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. I have to go get a machine. So the chain around the anvil, in case you're wondering, if you've ever seen that, it's not just there because it looks really cool, which I think it does. The chain acts as a silencer. The chain absorbs the high-pitch, high-frequency noise that you hear when you hit with the hammer, the pinging noise, the bing, bing. The chain absorbs that, and I do that to protect my hearing. And I also wrap it to one end and nail it down on each end so that it actually also is a secondary safety device to keep my anvil on that wood stump if I should ever happen to somehow bump into it. The anvil is also nailed down on each corner as well with 9-inch nails folded over on each corner so that the anvil cannot fall off of this wood stump whatsoever. If this anvil fell down, it could injure me or someone really badly, and I'd never be able to lift it back up onto the wood stump. So that's make sure that thing does not come off. Down below of the wood stump, you want to make sure you get yourself a solid wood stump. This is actually Douglas fir, nice hardwood. That's what we have here locally. So I was able to get that. Finding an oak stump about that size would have been almost impossible at the time that I got this, and now I have several sources to get one, but I'm not going to change it out. I made these out of nails, these simple brackets to hold my hammers, and on the other side I have some for some of the hardy tools. Now the hardy tools are the tools that fit into that square hole right there so that I can do certain jobs on top of the anvil, like cutting or bending, for example. Okay, that's a little bit about the anvil. Now people keep asking me, well, I want to get into blacksmithing. What anvil should I buy? Well, there's a good question, because that's you really have to watch out. If the one most greatest investment that you want to make sure you take care to kind of do some research and spend a little bit of money on when you start blacksmithing is your anvil. I would recommend to go out and find a decent anvil that has about 70 kilograms, and what you want to look for is you want to make sure the anvil is perfectly flat. You can take a straight edge and place it on top and look underneath the straight edge. I don't have anything that would resemble a straight edge right now, just laying here. But if you take a straight edge and you look underneath of it to see how flat, a lot of the older anvils will be worn out in the center. It'll have a bow right here. You don't want that. So you got to look to see and make sure you have a fairly flat surface. You don't want any of the corners to be chipped away too badly. I mean, this one has some little tiny dents here, which is okay. That's going to be fair use. That's not going to be preventable. You're not going to find an anvil in mint condition, and if you do, you're very lucky, and you're going to be paying a high dollar price for that anvil, especially if it's a larger one in this size. This anvil right here, if I were to sell this today, I'd get about 1,000 euros for it straight up. And I would definitely, if you have this option, go to recycling places, introduce yourself, say, hey, I'm getting into blacksmithing. I'd like to know if you guys have old tools and possibly some anvils once in a while. The people at the recycling places usually pick out these kind of things and put them aside just for that purpose. There's sometimes you got some of the old timers out there, especially, they're looking for nice things to save from getting melting down. So that's the anvil. Real simple. Yeah, like I said, that's the most important piece of your equipment right there, and you want to invest in that. You want to make sure you buy a decent anvil. All the other components, like the tongs and the hammers, you can improvise until you get working along or save up some money to buy some real nice ones. So this gas forge runs off of propane. I run it off of one bottle, so I can work about 2 hours until it freezes over. I can usually get everything done in that time that I need to get done with it. And to prevent it from freezing over, I could either put a heater around the bottle, which I don't have electricity up here for, or I could use 2 bottles, but then I'd always be consuming 2 bottles of propane at one time, and which is kind of inconvenient for me. So I just run it off of one bottle, and I have it setting in a tub of water, which also helps to slow the freezing process. And when it freezes over, I just turn it off and go home. So that's how that is. Or I use the coal forge. That's one of the other options. Now I'm going to swing over to the coal forge and introduce that. So this is my coal forge, or my field forge. In German we call this eine Feldesse, and this is actually a field forge from the German military about 100 years ago. So this is pretty cool. When I got this, it was of course used, and of course it was in the scrap metal, and I was able to restore it. It was not much wrong with it. This wheel was not aligned very well. This wouldn't turn. Some of the parts I had to actually make new parts for, but which is no big deal. And yeah, so I put some paint on it. I was really lucky that the plate that holds the fire bowl wasn't rusted too badly, so I was able to just give it some paint and some primer so it would last another 100 years, maybe even, who knows. So this is my post vise. It's called a post vise because it's designed to be mounted on a post, as you can see. They come in about a variety of sizes and designs. I simply have this one because it's something I ended up with on my search to gather equipments for the shop. In my old blacksmith shop I had 2 sizes up from this, and I must say it was just too big, and then it got stolen anyway, so that's a story for itself. But this one here is just the size I need up here at the Viking camp. If I could somehow manage to get flatter jaws on this one, that would be great, but yeah, I'm not necessarily out looking for another vise at the moment. This post vise has just the right features that I need it for, and it'll last me a long time. Very simple. It's also about 100 years old. I did some work to it to get it to work again. I was just looking at it. This back here is kind of loose. I could take it apart again and put some new drifts in here, and it'd be just like brand new. But it works fine for right now. So that's the vise. So here we have my tool chest with all my tools. I have this awesome leather apron which was given to me as a gift many years ago, and I still have it. I use it quite often when I'm doing jobs where I have to have a lot of sparks, for example forge welding, or sometimes I wear it when I'm grinding a lot of metal. It's kind of difficult for me to put this on by myself because it has a strap that goes around my back, but I do like this. This is a really nice piece of equipment. I have a pair of leather gloves, just plain leather welding gloves. They work great for forging. They protect not only my hands, but because they're so long, they protect the front of my forearm as well. And you will want to wear a pair of gloves to protect your hands from sparks and burning yourself, which is very important. I have several different hammers here. This is actually a French blacksmith hammer. I found it in the junk and restored it. I have several hammers, files, several tongs. I'll do a separate video on this, on my tools here. So this is for making heavy-duty nails. This is a nail header. I have, yeah, like I said, there's a bunch of tools in here. There's several different tongs and hammers. That'd be a video all on its own. Yeah, so that was the blacksmith shop in a nutshell, I guess. Quick explanation. I also have my scrap metal pile, which is nothing nice to look at, but as part of the shop you need to have something like that if you're a blacksmith. And once I get around to putting up a permanent structure, that'll be a nice corner with a shelf and all that good stuff. So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, and if you're not already a subscriber to the channel, it would help out greatly if you click the subscribe button, ring the bell, and click all notifications so to let YouTube know you want to see more of my videos, and you'll get updated every time I post a video. For those of you who are already a member of the Berserker Gang 2019 community, thanks a lot for tuning in as well. Like always, stay safe and see you soon.